to another episode of Prune in Politics. At least that's what I'm calling this. This is what it is. Yeah, I wanted to catch up with people, see how everybody's doing. You know, this is how we live now. This is how we interact with one another. So I wanted to give an opportunity to talk about a couple things. So for those people who have followed me for a while, I have some associates and frequent, people that I interact with on my page and elsewhere, on the internets, who are part of an organization, not official, we're not on paper or anything or whatever, but we're a Facebook group called the Digital Liberation Front. And the mother chapter of the Digital Liberation Front is in Greensboro. That's where a good number of our members are from, Greensboro, North Carolina here. But we basically support each other online as we're going through, these strange times. We give each other factual information. We try to, make sure we are in the know and accurate, not spreading disinformation. So we're part of the solution and not part of the problem. There's a lot of people out there who just, they just spread gossip. They'll take a link, they won't check, the post date, the history, the context, So I felt it was important after interacting with a number of open bigots and racists online who are willfully spreading disinformation, to try to engender some kind of community that countered that, to give some truth, inject some truth back into the discussion. And that's another main reason why I keep my page wide open for people to interact with me and share content and, joke and laugh, and, try to make some sense out of the senseless. But I digress. I say all that to say today, one of the members of that group posted the link that I put into the description of this video.
The wrong I'm the wrong I beat your ass in this motherfucking store. I will beat your ass. Say that in. You didn't hear what the I just said. You didn't hear what the I just said.
But basically, this took place in California, I believe. It was posted to TMZ. You may have seen the article, but the TMZ link that I posted is the actual video. And I'm not going to talk about, I'm going to try to stay as broad as I can in regard to this and not really, speak about, try to convict or say who's wrong or right in this scenario. I'm trying to just talk about the situation in general. And what unfolded and what that means in a broader context, because what unfolded was messed up. It was messed up on an individual basis, but it speaks to a broader narrative that's going on. I think it embodies a lot of white fear, of reprisal, retaliation. In regard to dealing with blacks or whatever, it channels a lot of the narratives about angry black women. A lot of the racist stereotypes, are exhibited in this video. However, if you are informed and educated, you can recognize that, there are a bunch of factors at play here that took place before the video, that take place in the broader context in regard to, how we deal with race in society. But let me get on with it. So, apparently, this woman is in a store. I'm describing the video now for those people who you can check it out later on your own. But this woman is in a store, looks like a gas station or whatever, and the video starts mid-altercation. So we don't know what happened before. All I hear is basically, the black woman, apparently bumped into or shoulder checked this older white woman. And the older white woman apparently didn't say, "Excuse me." And at some point, the word nigger was used I really can't make it out in the video, but apparently the woman in the mask, used it first, and the black woman took that as authorization to beat her ass. Like that. I mean, like that. Those are fighting words, and because you use that term, now I can physically get violent with you. Repeatedly. And the term was used repeatedly. That's another thing too. So, the gates of hell was open whenever, the woman said nigger the first time, but then she felt like she needed to kick that bitch open a little bit wider and proceeded to continue calling her a nigger, and then, got her ass beat. Now, I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's right. But, not saying it's right at all. Not saying it's right. It's not what Brandon is saying. But they were both wrong. So I mean, I'll start off with that racist overture first. Like, especially in these days and times, black people are a little bit sensitive right now. Like, I'm not saying, well, yeah, I am. I'm asking for a little bit of special treatment. Because you can't acknowledge the history of race. This is the main reason why people don't like talking about race. You can't acknowledge the history of race without acknowledging that something has to be done about the repercussions of the actual activity that sprung out of race, the actual violent activity that sprung out of race, the justification of chattel slavery, and how a whole section of people were damaged. I mean, 6 million Jews died, and they get a country, an army, and, continual funding from the U.S. government. But we had way over 6 million Jews that were affected, and their offspring are still here suffering disproportionately in the system. So, with that being said, I mean, I don't want to get into reparations, but I'm just acknowledging the reality of what race has done to individuals. So, there are some people who are a little bit charged as a result of, the generational violence that's taking place, the disruption of the family units, the lack of access to basic resources, healthy environments where they can raise their kids, good schools, good education. There's some people a little bit angry about that, right? And I know arguments like, I never owned any slaves, blah, 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 blah. This is not about you. This is about the system and the fact that things that we've done yesterday can affect groups of people tomorrow in this government that we all collectively participate in. So, that being said, you know how whenever a cop kills, somebody, and we have it on tape, and it was a black dude running away, and he gets shot 3 times in the back, and then everybody's all like, but what was he doing before? What was he doing before? Well, we have the history here in regard to this country. So the tape says something on a microscopic level, but during this emotionally charged time, it is not in your best interest to run around calling people of color nigga. I don't do it, and I am of color, and we'll get into that in a couple seconds. But yeah, it would not behoove you to partake in that particular activity at this moment. If you want to be an ally, or if you consider yourself trying to advance and bring peace to this country or whatever, any nation, that would not be the move. That would not be the move. It's not making things better. So the woman got her ass beat. Then, flip side, I recognized the video immediately. I was like, oh, hell. Did you all notice that the woman who used the slur, she's wearing a mask? And she looks older. You know what? So, basically, the black woman walking in, who's close enough to shoulder check her, so she's not 6 feet. Y'all shoulder checking, y'all touching, y'all interacting. with no mask on. So, essentially, the white woman who dropped the N-bomb was like, yeah, fuck your race. But the recipient of the N-bomb was walking around basically saying, fuck your life. And that was before she heard the N-bomb even being dropped. So the white woman really, she may have been in her feels already. Or it could have been a setup. Either way, that door's been left open for contention. Because this black woman, who apparently wants respect, wants to be treated like a human being, wants her life to be recognized and acknowledged, and for that word not to be used in reference to her, is walking around during a pandemic. We got numbers spiking everywhere. With no mask on. So whenever you walk around like that at this day and time, when you walk around like that without a mask on, you are basically, that's what you're saying. Like, you're saying fuck science, fuck society. I might have it. I don't give a fuck about you. If you get it, we both going. I might survive. You may not. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit who you give it to. There's no racial designation to that mentality right now. There's not. We all have internet. We all have access. We've been in this thing for a while, long enough to know and to have done research into what can prevent the spread of this. We could recognize that, yeah, some people may be a little bit more pronounced when it comes to particular proclamations. But if I have something in front of my mouth or I'm popping off, I can block some of that from coming at you and going into the space, going into the air, where my little COVID bacteria can exist, or virus can exist, where you can inhale it and particularly get infected yourself. But we're sitting here debating as to whether or not a barrier is even effective. It doesn't do anything for me. It's not about you. It's about other people. But I'm not going to sit here and pop off like I'm perfect. And let me tell you why. My issue has been like, yeah, it's like, I've been trying to go the genteel way. I've been trying to be, polite. I'm going to wear my mask. And if you're not wearing your mask, it's okay. That's your personal liberty. I wish you would show some respect for me. But I'm not even doing that. I'm not even going and talking to people and saying that. It's more like, everybody's just walking around eye-fucking each other now. That's what we do. We walk around, we eye-fuck each other. People with no mask. People with a mask. That's what we're doing right now. On recess, this is like that part right before the fight, where they both like looking around. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? Bet you won't say it to my face. Bet you won't say it with your mouth covered. You nasty bitch. Because now we have a visual testament to how much we care or don't care for one another. Like, it's there now. You can see it in broad daylight. And that's why this has divided this country in half. So that's why this woman kind of forfeited her, I'm angry at you for calling me a nigger card, because you walked in saying, I don't give a damn about your life. And I don't care if you black, white, red, Asian, Jamaican, Muslim, Hindu, trans, whatever. I don't give a damn. But if you walk up to anybody in the world and say, I don't give a fuck about your life. don't think you're going to be met with gratitude for that statement. I think there's going to be some animosity between you and the recipient of that message. And so what do people do? Oh, you don't give a fuck about my life? I don't give a fuck about your life. We just gonna be here not giving a fuck about each other's lives then. That's how we gonna be. All lives matter. That's what we do now. And I said it's going to pop off. Like, that's the thing. It's going to pop off at some point. And I had a friend of mine say, yeah, Brandon, it already has popped off. You remember in, I think it was Georgia, at this dollar store where somebody got shot because, you know, where basically it was a security guard at the dollar store. That's a weird job. It's the dollar store. Like, what do you, I mean, you were literally protecting capitalism at its finest right there. Like, but anyway, so the security guard, you know, apparently told this guy who came in to wear a mask. Both were black, important to note, and told this dude he need to put a mask on. The dude felt like he was being disrespected and shot the security guard, killed him. Right? Now, if that guy was, I mean, if the guy who done the murder was white or whatever, we would have heard about that all over the news, but it was just, you know, more black on black crime. That wasn't a big enough news. The only thing of merit was the fact that a mask was part of the altercation. And things weren't even as heated back then. That was just then when people were just getting informed. And so, you know, there was plausible deniability. Maybe this guy didn't know he needed to have a mask on. We didn't know how it was transmitted and whatnot. So there was a bunch of reasons why I felt like that thing just floated down the road in conjunction with all the other fascist shit going on that we're supposed to pay attention to. That's the problem with having a bunch of chaos going on at the top of our government, at the highest echelon, because everybody needs to focus on that craziness, and it makes it harder to focus on what's going on in your individual life. Like, you know, that's part of how fascism works. Disruption, chaos, and then while everybody's like running around with chickens with their heads cut off, you know, they rape and pillage and rob and steal, which is what they've been doing. But anyway, I digress. This guy, you know, more than likely wasn't a Trump supporter. Didn't give a shit about Trump. That's probably another main reason why. If he'd been one of those, like, you know, Candace Owens, you know, Diamond and Silk type, you know, buffoons, then they would have definitely, like, you know, put him on stage, put him out front. You know, he would have been the anti-mask Negro. They would have had him all over the place. But, you know, like most minorities, he was probably on some fuck Trump shit and was really on some you aren't going to disrespect me in my hood type stuff. That's not something the fascists can get behind. Like, that's the kind of guy that they say they want in jail. But he proves a point, so have no doubt the racists ran with it. Oh, I was like, so set off my alarm. I was like, who's in the greenhouse with me? And then I realized, oh yeah, I have 2 dogs. I get notifications on my phone. I was like, I didn't hear anybody come in here. What the hell? But yeah, I'm good. So yeah, no, the fascists aren't going to enjoy that shit. They're not going to. They'll use it as an example of black on black crime that we ignore, you know, day after day, because that's their justification for all crime. It's like, you know, I mean, or for anything bad. It's like, if I can find the equivalent, I can justify both of them at the same time. They'll cancel each other out, and they can continue to perpetuate the cycle of white supremacy. You know, that's their mentality. Normal people are like, if this is bad and this is bad, both should probably fucking stop. But not fascists. They look at it for, like, power cancels out power or something. I don't understand how it works exactly, but it does justify them not doing a damn thing about anything to make the world a better place. But yeah. So now, here we are in this day and age, and we know, we have the science. We have scientists like Dr. Fauci, who's part of his administration until he started bucking the narrative that Trump was spreading. You know, hey, he's the one saying we need to have masks on. Like, that was the guy we were supposed to be listening to at the beginning. He's still a doctor, he's still around, but somehow all the conspiracy theories that got out that said that he's a Bill Gates plant and all sorts of craziness that people just ate up. Like, we were listening to this dude. Like, we were listening to this dude over Trump himself, which is why he got sidelined. But at the same time, he wasn't telling us wrong. He wasn't lying to us. This isn't some John Bolton type. He was literally trying to do the right thing and, you know, agreeing with Cuomo, agreeing with people who actually, you know, wanted to try to get this pandemic ended. And still trying to stroke Trump's ego in the process and give him some kind of credit. But, you know, the narrative got fucked up. Trump needed to go full racist, and Fauci wasn't looking good out front, getting all the attention. You know, because fascism needs to, you know, everybody knows in a stand-up fight, Trump gonna lose, especially when it comes to this election come November. And 120,000 plus dead Americans is not something really good to try to get reelected on. So, in light of that, we gotta dial up the chaos. We gotta create some distractions, some major distractions, because we have an election coming up we gotta discredit. That's the mentality for that. And that's what brings us back to the masks. The masks that some people don't want to wear. Because I got asthma and I can't breathe. I want to breathe. I can't have that mask on. First of all, you don't have to have it on 24/7, just when you go into public spaces. And if you have asthma, you need to have something on your face to decrease your chances of getting this shit, because you acknowledge it's out there, right? Like, we're acknowledging it's out there. And everything that's been told to us is a slight representation of the greater problem, because we don't have adequate testing. We don't have access to PPE for everybody everywhere. We don't have universal standards or national standards that everybody's adhering to. Take a trip through one of these red states. It's like going to a COVID whorehouse. According to these new numbers, record numbers being set in days. And still these states are like, we're still going to open up. We're going to power through. We don't need northern liberals and libtards telling us what to do. If we want to catch this COVID, we're going to catch it and enjoy it. Herd immunity. We're a herd. A herd of dumbasses. And so that's fine. You want a herd immunity, that's all good. You want to go out, you want to be around, that's cool. But, like, there are other people who may not share your sentiment, and, you know, putting a mask on would be nice. It's not going to hurt you. You're not going to do it for a short period of time. It's going to protect you, too. I'm standing here protecting you from the side of my naked body with my clothes. You can't see because I have a barrier on. If I cough into my hand, it's not going to go into your face because I have a barrier up. Like, something is better than nothing. Even if you're talking about, oh, it's porous and the virus can get between that. It's not going to protect anything, you know, from coming in at you too. So it just really makes no sense. That's the thing. Like, it's both so porous and so ineffective that it doesn't do anything, but you can't wear it because you can't breathe with it on. Like, which one is it, dude? Which one is it? Choose. Can't be both. Either it's so effective you can't breathe, or not effective. This is the hill people are literally dying on. It's crazy. That's why this day and time is interesting to me. It's interesting to me how dynamics are shifting and how we're seeing things differently. If you want respect Let me get back to the N-word. We start off here with the N-word. If you want respect, if you want to be able to have that outrage and be justified, you have to show respect for others, and you also have to show respect for yourself. That's why I don't use it. I recognize that word's out there. I don't use it. But the fact is, everybody knows, those people of color who are comfortable with the word, you know somebody else who's called you on your bullshit and been like, nigga, please. You know the da-da-da-da-da-da. You know what you said. You know what you did. Nigga, please. Right? But apparently this white woman at this gas station saw you without your mask, you bumped into her, was all like, nigga, please. And now you want to get, oh, hell no, you have the wrong complexion to say that word. You are verifiably right, ma'am. You're verifiably white. I can see you. So it makes it hard, you know, for you to justify outrage when somebody calls you on the same bullshit, but they have a different packaging. I've told you the situation is a lot more complex than people are giving it credit for. It makes great, like, you know, sensationalized stuff. You can look at it at one level and say, white woman called black woman a nigger and got punched and knocked the fuck out. But in the greater context, there's so much more going on here. That was a big June bug. I hope it's not flying in my face. I hate June bugs. I hate them so much. So yeah, I don't use the term. I don't use the word because whenever somebody calls me that and I get pissed, or if I choose to get pissed, everybody could be like, yeah, you know, Brandon don't like that word. He don't use that word with anybody. Nobody. Yeah, no one should be using that word around him. But at the same time, I recognize it's a personal choice, freedom of speech or whatever, but I'm just trying to say there's certain things that have a certain cause and effect. A certain cause and effect. My last point is we don't know if this was a bait situation. The fact is we are right now in this cultural Cold War. And those people who have followed my page, those people who have followed the news and followed the media, know that basically there's a lot of instigators out there. There are foreign instigators online putting out bots, little programs they've written. They interact with you. They sound and interact just like real people, using artificial intelligence and whatnot. They sound and can almost beat the Turing test. You can look that up, what the Turing test is. But they always beat the Turing test with regard to their accuracy and how they provide feedback. And we have data mining going on, so they can basically, you know, take information that's been aggregated about you and identify what's going to piss you off, what's going to upset you, what you posted, what you commented on in the past. We're in the era of information, and information is being used against us in a warfare environment. War isn't just two different armies from two different countries, you know, we'll send your Marines after these soldiers, da-da-da-da. It's not just like that. This is information warfare going on. But we also have real world instigators, right? People dressing up like Antifa and coming to Black Lives Matter protests and starting up shit, hoping that it's going to catch on and everybody, you know, causes damage. So basically that can be put on the evening news as justification for a race war. That's going on. But best believe there's individuals who might be out there doing the same thing, yo. I'm gonna put a mask on. I'm going to the ghetto. I'm going to where I find the most black people, and I'm going to be the most offensive I can. And then whenever they take their cell phones out, and one of those black beasts assaults me, I will be famous. These are tough times, yo. That's what I'm saying. You know, I hate Candace Owens with a passion, but I can't fault her hustle. I can't fault her hustle. She's got a market. She's milking it. There are people doing dastardly dark things, deceitful, dastardly, for $1. That's what these times create. That's what a fucked up economy will do. So you try to get a quick payday, you want to get on the Fox News talking circuit, you want to be Joe the Plumber 2020, you want to be that person everybody calls up and they're like, here's the woman who was violently assaulted by an African American. Tell us, Karen, how did it feel when that beast laid her hands upon you? And your dumbass fell for the rope-a-dope because you hit her. Now you looking at charges. No one can come to your aid because you didn't have a mask on. You're bumping into people in the store. It's her word against yours. You beat her up, you knocked her down, and then you kept beating her. One group is like, ha, 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 justice, like it was around the O.J. Simpson trial whenever he got off for murder. But I digress. Yeah, you're all for this. You're here for Team Black. Somebody assaulted Team Black, so we gotta put black. You gotta beat the justice. We gotta render it. We gotta balance out the scales. And meanwhile, the fascists are like, see, I told you they were angry. I told you they were violent. Go buy more guns. This is why we have to put knees on their necks. Because you see how they get. You can't constrain something like that. Blue lives matter. All lives matter. Fuck those lives. Those lives don't matter. There was a reason why people, like, you know, dressed up during the civil rights movement, the protests and whatnot. It was so, whenever they were arrested, there was nothing that could be used against them in regard to their, like, appearance. Like, no one could say, you know, they looked, you know, unkempt. They were animals, they were beasts, you know. They walk around, one guy had a sign on, I am a man. So, if we want to be regarded as humans over our race, we have to practice acts of humanity. Wearing a mask is an act of humanity. And it will protect you when it comes to having the moral high ground in altercations where people come and they see a situation visually first. That was the first thing I saw. Now, I knew the N-word was there. It was in the headline. Like, I knew that was why it ended up on TMZ and whatnot. But when I was watching the video, that was the first thing I saw in that video. I was like, why don't you have no damn mask on? Like, y'all in the store, and she loud and angry? Like, that's justified. But the fact is, if you're loud and you're angry, you're not really thinking about, like, how you're delivering tone. You were just basically trying to get as much out of your mouth as you possibly can. So you're projecting more into the area than everybody else, or than a closed mouth person would be, than somebody who was whispering would be. You can get angry, you can get loud, there's no mandate against that. But during a pandemic, I mean, like, cover your mouth when you're yelling at somebody, something. But you know, there's ample time. We've had ample time to understand some of the things that can be done to prevent the transmission of this virus. It didn't go out the window. whenever Fauci got put to the sideline because Trump got in his feelings. That didn't go out the window. Those are still facts. They're still relevant. They still help. You talk about, well, you know, people touch their masks all the time, blah, 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 blah. It's still a fucking barrier. It's still a barrier. Doctors have been wearing these damn things in surgeries. Nurses have been wearing them. Like, they didn't just pop up with liberals in 2020. This isn't some George Soros conspiracy that goes back to, you know, medicine from hundreds of years ago. Shit, people wore fucking masks in the Black Plague for a reason. And you can look them up. This is not, look, we got the internet. The internets. We have so many ways to verify these facts. Barriers work. So in this age, if we expect to be taken seriously, if we expect to be respected, if we expect to be, I mean, you know, we expect to have some sense of civility, you've got to exhibit that. You gotta show what you're asking for. And you have a great moral high ground right now by wearing a mask. Like, that really does give you leverage in a conversation. Like, A, it shows your intelligence already. So people like myself, I consider myself to be pretty intelligent, but people like myself and other individuals that I associate with. Hi, Miss Chamberlain, my high school English teacher. She was on one of my posts today, and she was all like, I'm so upset about people not wearing masks. And this was a nice, beautiful, soft-spoken woman. Like, it's crazy what it's bringing out in a lot of people. But yeah, that's how you can show you care about people. It shows your intelligence. It shows your empathy. It shows your knowledge. And so you can build allies just by doing that, just by wearing a mask. And yeah, I ain't gonna lie, people, you can forget. Like, shit happens from time to time. You know, buy some, put them in your car or whatever. But I believe that we need to get, and this is where I want to go back to the beginning of this conversation. I believe that, you know, we're gonna have to get more adamant about, like, you know, vocalizing, you know, our concerns about those people who don't wear masks in public. Like public shaming is a thing. Like, it's a thing. It actually is effective. People want to belong. People want to go about their lives. They don't want to be called out. They don't want to be made an example of. A good majority of people. You do have some exceptions, which is why they're trying to normalize not wearing masks, normalize discrediting facts and science, because we got to get this economy going again in their minds. There's no way for us to accommodate all these people and their needs and their issues if we acknowledge this virus and respect it. And so as we're trying to get this country going again and telling them to ignore reality, like, you know, taking away visual reminders is helpful. And that's why we don't want them wearing masks. So I told y'all, capitalism is shit. Capitalism is some shit. Runaway, unchecked capitalism. We talk about the Nazis all the time, but we don't talk about that association and how that relationship works and compels people to do some of the most fucked up things, like ignore facts, reality, science, health, public health. People think, I'm doing it for me. No, you're not doing it for you. You're not. You're doing it because you're following a bullshit narrative that was given to you by individuals who need an economy to go and for people to stop worrying about what's going on. We've got to reopen America. The rest of the world doesn't even want to fuck with us right now. Like, these people don't know what the hell's going on. They don't have control of their government. They have this insane criminal who's beholden to Russian interests. They all know that, but they're still letting him stay there. Like, the impotence of our government is on full display. But back to public shaming. We have an opportunity now to tell these people. They're calling themselves out. This is like, you know, how the Klan used to walk down the street. They're letting you know they don't give a shit about you, the world, blah, 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 blah. And like I said, if they're at risk, they should not be out and about. And if they're out and about at risk, they should be protecting themselves somehow. But we have an opportunity to tell these people, no. Collectively, when you see it. But the thing is, like I said before, I'm guilty too. I'm not perfect. I've been to the grocery store. I was at the grocery store the other day. And I'm walking up and down the aisle, and I hear, first of all, you know, I see like 3 or 4 good old boys talking. None of them have masks on. We're in the grocery store. People pick up their food, take it home and consume it. No masks on, you're in the grocery store. And they're talking about, you need to come on over around the cookout later on. Billy Bob's on aisle 4. I saw him. I just invited him over. And I wanted to walk on and be like, yo, where's the address? Is COVID over? Is that y'all celebrating that right now? Because none of y'all have masks on. Did I not get the memo? Who's bringing the corona? I wanted to say that. But, like I said, I'm out here knee deep in Trump country. So I wondered, if I said that, would anybody have my back? Would anybody be like, dude's got a point. You right. Hey, y'all nasty asses need to put on a mask. Would anybody step up and say something? Give me some backup? I looked around myself and I was like, hell to the no. Ain't nobody in here gonna do that for me. So I'm gonna be quiet. I'm gonna grab my things. I'm just gonna turn around in my cart and go this way. And later on, I was like, that was some punk shit. That was some bitch shit, Brandon. That was weak. You should have said something. You should have done something. You're the one online all the time, adamant and angry about everything. That was your chance to be angry in public. And you back down. But no, that was the first time a situation like that's occurred. And I believe it's going to be the last time. Now, I don't plan on making a spectacle in any and every situation and circumstance, but I'm going to be a tad bit more outspoken. I hope I don't end up on the news on some TMZ shit, but I do feel like more of us need to be more vocal about that with our friends, our family, our peers. So what if we do go into public, this normalization of bioterrorism and genocide that we have evenly distributed amongst ourselves and allowed to propagate, apparently, it needs to be addressed. It needs to end. It needs to stop. And I may not be able to come and put a mask on your face, but I can use my freedom of speech. You have the freedom to walk around without a mask on? and talk shit, I should have the freedom to walk around with my mask on and talk shit. Now, I don't know what's going to lead to. But I'm hoping it won't lead to somebody trying to draw a weapon on me or kill me or tail me or whatever. But I do believe it probably might start an altercation or two. Now, I believe I have evolved enough on an intellectual level to know how to restrain myself and stand my ground, because I recognize there are two sets of laws in this country, multiple sets of laws for multiple sets of individuals. I'm pretty sure I will be called a nigger at some point. However, I was raised in Kansas, so that is not a foreign term to me. But I'm telling you this not because I want you to support me in regard to what I do and how I do it. If you do, you do. If you don't, shit, mosquito. If you do, if you do. If you don't, you know, life still goes on. But I recognize there's going to be more people like me. And I know this because this wasn't my idea first. A friend of mine who's immune system compromised, we were at Cookout the other night here in North Carolina, a fine eating establishment, for the purchase of fries and trays, and you get a corn dog as a side. It's a very magical place, frequented by stoners and drunks after leaving college clubs all over North Carolina. But we're there, and we're picking up our order, and the person taking our card, handing us our food, she doesn't have a mask on. Now we have a statewide mandate for masks to be worn. And this is why this conversation is so important to be had now, because you're going to be seeing people intentionally pushing back just because they want to poke the fucking dragon. That mask is a line in the sand. And either you can step up and support people who are concerned about their immune systems, concerned about their welfare, the welfare of people that they love and care about, concerned about children, because we're seeing that there's long-lasting effects to this. You can get it, you can survive it, but it's going to be with you for a long time in regard to the damage it's done to your system. So people who are standing up for people who are prone to getting this disease, people who are more exposed, communities. You want to be an ally to the Black Lives Matter community? You can't go out, you can't protest, you're not like that. You know, you're not available to do that. If you're at the grocery store, just tell somebody to put a mask on is a very, very active way you can be involved in improving race relations. Because guess who's being disproportionately affected by COVID? People of color, the poor. So telling people to put their masks on is the least people should be doing. If you can't be involved elsewhere, or staying your ass home. But the thing is, the line is going to be drawn in the sand. And we need to support, here in North Carolina, I got to support my governor, who's showing some concern for my life and not normalizing people who slide into my timeline every day and call me everything but a child of God, their mentality, their behavior. Because I'm seeing more people, we can look at this from a political perspective, I'm seeing more people on one side of the spectrum who seem to be adamant about not giving a shit because, like I said, they've gone fascist. And denying science, denying facts, denying life, period, is what they do, which is why you can't negotiate with them, which is why it's not cute anymore for you to be like, but my grandma, you know, she's a sweet old lady, she comes from a different time period, she's walking around spreading this shit because she don't want to wear a mask on because Fox News told her it wasn't effective. Your grandma has no right to kill mine. And so yeah, people are losing friends and family left and right, as they should. Shit's not a game anymore, people. We are in the 11th hour. Trump needs this chaos. And what we allow, what we normalize in our attempt to keep the peace is only going to end up in more people being hurt, more people dying. It's estimated over 80% of COVID deaths could have been prevented. Study. It's out there. If you need me to tag it, if you want me to send you the link, I'm willing to do that. But you can find it on your own on Google. A good number of these deaths could have been prevented if individuals had acted sooner, instead of trying to come up with quirky little racist names to call a virus and misrepresenting what it is. But there was no money in acting sooner. There was no benefit that was immediate, that gave any kind of profit return to acting sooner. As a matter of fact, it costs money. And that's not what fascists like doing. They like making the money. They don't like spending the money. Because they need that money to keep power. All money needs to go toward power. Retention of power, gaining more power, is just power. Caring about individuals, fuck that. That's not power. That's not power. So yeah. That's where we are now. We are all on the fascist front lines. And that's what makes COVID so incredible. So amazing now. It's really changed the game in a lot of ways. People who thought they had everything in the bag are recognizing they don't. They can't fake empathy. They can't fake the fact they're actually killing constituents, people who voted for them last time. And in doing that, they've got to expose the fact that they aren't Christians. They've got to expose the fact that they don't really care about healthcare. They don't really care about fiscal responsibility. That they aren't pro-life. All this stuff is being exposed for a reason. The game has changed, but it's also showing that everybody who endorses or facilitates this kind of behavior isn't necessarily a Trump supporter. I'm willing to bet you that young woman who gave that beat down to that racist woman today was not a Trump supporter. But sure, she cared about my life as much as she cared, as much as Trump does. So yeah, I know it's ran long. All mine are most of the time. But yeah, I want to have a dialogue, man. I'll just post just because I'm like trying to get the upvotes and the likes. I like the fact that, you know, my numbers continue to go up and more people are spreading my posts and my memes, and you know, I'm trying to be part of the community and share other people's stuff. So it's not all about me. I'm trying to frame it in, you know, some kind of context that people can relate to and be entertained by. So I appreciate everybody who watches me, everybody who follows me. I appreciate that a lot. I love you all, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Like this interaction I have online with individuals keeps me sane, because otherwise it's just me, my plants, and my dogs, which is not healthy. I mean, it's good, but you know, I'm a human being. I need a social environment. This is how I get my needs met. But yeah, we all have a part to play in advancing this dialogue. We all have a part to play in making things better or worse. And we can definitively say there are certain actions that can make things worse. Not wearing a mask is one of them. Going around calling each other nigger, whether you white, black, whatever, that's something else too. Oh boy. I'm going to wrap this up after I finish this plant up. But yeah. Love you. Appreciate y'all. Talk to you later. Peace.